Hello everyone, I hope you're all having a fantastic day. This video is going to be all about the return of a specific weapon that was sunset a few years ago, and that is the Warden's Law. The Warden's Law was a 120 hand cannon, but it wasn't like your usual 120s. The weapon shot like something of Graviton Lance, but still had the TTK of a normal 120. It just had its bullet spread up to 2 different shots per burst. At the time, this was a cool concept because it stood in its own archetype all alone and remains alone in this archetype due to the feedback people had about that gun. Feedback was generally negative, stating that the gun was too difficult to land both shots in the burst, making it harder to get the optimal damage you can obtain from one burst, thus making the TTK longer and the gun feeling worse. Now you might be asking, why do I care about this gun at all that's sunset? Well, if you don't know, this gun is returning in Season 22 alongside many other weapons, and will be getting a total revamp to its special archetype. The revamp reads, "We utilized the damage profile that aggressive frame hand cannons had years back, dealing up to 90 damage per burst against players, 25 per body, 45 per crit. Then we slightly reduced the burst delay, the time between the bursts themselves as opposed to the time between shots within a burst, so it has a slightly faster 0.93 time to kill instead of the standard 1 second. Now the TTK is nice and all, but we can only understand how easy it is to reach that optimal TTK with how terrible it felt in previous years. Because let's be real, with this bad baby returning, it's gonna have some stiff competition. If Bungie wasn't changing how this gun felt at all, it wouldn't be mentioned here, but one of the main reasons I am mentioning it, and as you saw in the thumbnail with the 0.43 TTK, is that damage profile. Unlike a normal 120, Bungie has stated that it will be receiving pre-nerf damage numbers for 120s at 90 damage per burst or 45 per bullet, which is crazy. Now this still requires 5 bullets to kill or 2.5 bursts, but the important part is the pre-nerfed damage. Bungie nerfed 120 damage for a reason. I mean, have you seen all the damage bonuses we can get in this game? Literally a hunter dodge can give you a 10% damage buff nowadays. Back in my day, we didn't even have a dodge. Now with this damage buff, pre-nerfed 120s would do about 100 damage per shot, which means a crispy 2-tap with no effort. But for obvious reasons, that got nerfed to 90 damage a shot now. But since they are technically making it do 90 damage a burst or 45 damage per shot, we can now re-achieve that 100 damage a burst for a crispy TTK between somewhere of 0.43 and 0.47. Now the reason I say between is because with it being its own archetype with burst delay and all, it is substantially more difficult to calculate the TTK for this weapon. But with using the old Warden's Law and the TTK of other normal 120s, we can conclude it will be somewhere between 0.43 and a 0.47, which is incredibly fast, even meta changing fast. We saw how Behemoth Titans were meta for a little bit when Targeted Redaction had the collective action damage buff, giving it 2-tap potential for a 0.5 TTK, and the Warden's Law is gonna be faster than that. Now how do we build into it? It's super simple. Just get a damage buff of at least 10%. Maybe run Acrobat Dodge on Hunter with 6 Coyote for a second dodge, or Frosty so you get your dodge back even faster, or maybe run Warlock with an Empowering Rift. And yes, if you were curious, I do like to watch the world burn. Now, there's a few things that I want to mention outside of things built into subclass like perks on the gun. This gun could achieve insane TTK potential if perks like Kill Clip or Frenzy or maybe even Collective Action was on it. So Behemoth Titans might be back on the menu if it can roll with Collective Action. But nevertheless, keep your eye out on this gun because it might stomp its way to the top of the meta when released. I mean, you can even focus it at Zavala. Stock up on those engrams, Guardian. If you enjoyed, like and sub if you want to, and I will catch you on the next one. Love you all. Peace!